Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue unpacking another look-like and sound the same character, miǎo. This time, we pair the squinting, the small eye, or fewer eye, impaired vision eye, with a fabric or fiber. Interesting, right? Because Chinese is so multi-dimensional. Fabric is two-dimensional. If you make it into a garment, it's three-dimensional. But it starts with one dimension. It's just thread. So Chinese express this fabric slash fiber together. You can view both things in the same frame. And together it means thin. And here is how it looks. You can see the progression here because the eye symbol and the small with the slant to make it fewer or less kind of stay similar across the years. And you see the progression of this fabric slash fiber radical. 2,000 years ago, we have two spools of thread hanging on a continuous thread. So okay, it turned out I chat with Bot quite a lot, like why it was expressed by two spools of thread, like in this shape together, along with number 8 and this horizontal number 8, that's the infinity sign, like why. Both Chinese and the Western concept are like originated from different cultures, use this similar looking symbol, basically two circles kind of connected like that. And in fact, the Chinese, if we don't look at the bottom part, this kind of a tree root symbol look like, only the top two circles on a string of thread. And that's xuan. That means something mysterious, something unknowable. And I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds like infinity, right? Because in ancient times, today as well, when we try to conceptualize something big number beyond our human perception or understanding, Chinese create this vertical infinity sign that came from fabric making process, which in particular is a dyeing process that you have yarns and make it into a loop. I ask AI specifically, how does it loop into this number 8 or infinity sign shape? Couldn't give me details, but I remember, and I used to work in the fashion industry, so I know a little bit about textile. My mom, when she was making, say, knitting, she's such a crocheter and knitter, she would unspool a spool of thread by having me hold my arm, like two, right, arms, and do this zigzagging kind of thing. And that way, eventually the thread won't get chaotic. You just hold the two ends and retain these two circles. And eventually you can unthread it from it and tangle it without things get too messy. So imagine a big pile of thread, very easily it can tangle. I handle thread so much when I was in that fashion program, learning to sew, cut and sew, and dealing with tanglement of your sewing machine. So I can understand ancient times. That's the old way to keep threads in place by doing this infinity sign thing. But AI didn't know, okay? I checked, cannot tell what exactly is done. And then the bottom, two theories. One is it looks like a tree root. So that symbolizes, okay, this thread, a spool of threads, most likely it was silk, because that's probably a longer established tradition of source of fiber, long fiber, luxurious fiber. Only China knew that for many, many centuries, right? And another one is cotton or linen, this plant-based. So silk is animal-based. The other kind of fibers are animal-based, plant-based. and a whole process to extract the fiber and made it into yarn and put it into a thread shape. So this could also mean the top is the silkworm made and the bottom could like rooted as a plant, like a plant-based fiber, two sources of fiber. Another version of this is this looks like a draping down of fabric. So fabric is already woven. So with weft and warp, two directions, that means it's already a 2D shape, right? From thread, it's just 1D. So this is related to the squinting with the fabric of fiber means a thin thread. That's miǎo. And we have 飘渺, wade. Here we have water symbol, which we just came across yesterday, right? I brought it back today because we have two 飘渺s. Sound almost the same, except like somebody say it's 缥缈 instead of 缥缈. But if we pronounce both 缥缈and 缥缈, same sound, similar meaning, different character, but similar looking character. And I find it fascinating. Sometimes Chinese do that. To describe us in some sense, we have multiple words that kind of they sound the same, kind of look the same, but with variations. So I guess over time, people, different regional people or different, I don't know, people who were privileged enough to use language had their own variations. So 缥缈 here on the top, we have the wind in there and we have water in there. So 缥缈 give it a sense of natural element, something flowing in the wind or in water that's not anchored. So it's unmoored, unanchored, and it's like a kite that's flying away, not attached to a place. That's 缥缈. It shows something that's just free flowing and not attached to anything else. That's, free flowing thing. Kind of leaf fallen on water, free flowing. It just go wherever it bumps into. All right. And the second 缥缈, when it bows, is this fabric or thread icon on the left side. So both of them are related to fabric. If this is a thin thread that talks about the shape or the volume of the fabric or thread, the 飘 or 朴 or 漂 really, there are a garden variety of pronunciation variations. We cannot even tell which one is authority because probably it's regional variations. Let's just say 漂 because we want to standardize, like match the previous expression. If the 漂 here talks about just light baby blue, I mean, I picture it as like baby blue because when I grew up, the dye industry was already post-industrial revolution, this chemical industry, artificial dye created colors. You can do whatever colors according to Pantone color book. Pantone color book, right? That's, in the fabric industry, that's the standard. Or I didn't get to see the ancient one. I would imagine it's a pretty light, kind of eerie, not eerie, like aerial, light colored type of blue. So 飘 described the color. That's not strong statement, but subtle, kind of pastel color. 渺 talks about the shape, pair together. 飘渺, give it a sense of, it's almost like create a visual sense by the fabric. The color is light, the thread is thin. So it's almost kind of like what's it called, a gauze? So in fabric, darn, I forget my term. In fabric making, there is such kind of a thin, threaded and see-through fabric. Lightly colored see-through color. You can imagine it's quite breezy. It looks light. It feels light. And that's 缥缈 here. When we have 缥缈虚无, that's just example of when we pair the fabric sense. It's light colored, light weighted, thin fabric paired with 虚无. 虚 means it's not solid. It's something not in, almost like intangible. And 无 is like nothing here, nada. So from this, you have a very thin layer of lightly colored fabric to it's intangible, to it's totally gone. It's not there. The gradation of, from solid, tangible, physical thing to intangible, totally gone out of the world, out of the sight thing. There's this gradation there in 虚无, in 缥缈虚无, or we like to flip it. 虚无缥缈 also works. So basically talk about daydreamers. They have some big, grand ideas. That's like this thin fabric, but nothing solid, nothing shown for yet. That's 虚无缥缈 or 缥缈虚无. So here I'm showing some, I guess, fiberglass. That's as close as we can see. It's pretty thin and give it a sense of you need to squint at it. That's another meow today. Thank you for your time. See you another